Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Barnaby and today I'm going to try and help you get the most out of photographing the birds in your garden. Photographing birds in the garden can be tricky sometimes. If you're short on space, or you don't have the right perches or feeders, or you simply just don't get enough birds visiting the garden, I might just have a solution for you to help you get natural looking, beautiful and eye-catching photos from the comfort of your kitchen window. Now I'm going to show you how I built a dedicated photographic feeding station for all kinds of birds in the garden, whether you live in a rural area or an urban area. I live in the countryside and we've been feeding the birds here for about 20 years, but even if you're new to feeding the birds or you want to start, there's never been a better time. In the colder weather, our birds in the UK need all the help they can get, and watching them from your window or from the garden, especially in this last year of lockdowns, can bring so much joy to people, even more so when all the fledglings hatch in spring. This technique that I'm going to show you is going to take some DIY skills and a few materials, but it is going to be worth it, and if I can do it, honestly you can do it too. I probably have the worst DIY skills in the world. Nobby over here bought Torx screws instead of normal screws. But my feeding station is currently standing, for the moment at least. But this is the best bit. You can achieve some really cracking looking photos and a functional, natural looking feeding station without any prior knowledge of what screws to buy, apparently. You will need some strong, sturdy timber to use as the supports in the frame. I just used 2-inch thick square timber. That's probably not the right name for it, but like I say, I have no idea. I just went to B&Q and bought some wood. It was like £3.50 per 8-foot length. Make sure it's treated wood, obviously because it is going to be living outdoors. Next you're going to need some interesting logs or branches to use as the perches. The more unique and attractive branches you can find, obviously the better they're going to look in the photographs afterwards. Now we're trying to help wildlife at the end of the day, so don't go to the local woodland and lop off any branches or cut down any trees. Obviously if you can find dead wood or fallen branches, that's going to work the best. Now I rescued some wood from someone's bonfire and it was covered in this really vivid green moss. And some sections of it also had some really interesting fungi on it, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. Lastly, you're going to need a decent drill and some sorted length screws, preferably ones you have the drill bit for, unlike me. And of course, you will need bird feeders as well. Now what feed you use to attract the birds is entirely up to you, depending on what species you want in the garden, what species you want to photograph, or if you're a seasoned bird feeder then you probably already know what you get and how to attract them. If you're not sure, then I will be making another video about attracting all different kinds of birds to the garden and what feed to use, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Now on my feeder I've used white sunflower hearts, which the blue tits, great tits and goldfinches absolutely love. Peanuts, which the blue tits also love, as well as the great spotted woodpecker. Fat balls because the starlings absolutely love them, and a suet cake for the long-tailed tits. Lastly, I added some mealworms along the wood and in the moss for the robins, dunnocks and blackbirds and any other ground feeding birds that might come along. Now the hope is to attract the birds to the feeding station, and while they're either waiting for their turn on the feeder or simply to eat the seeds that they've collected, they will land on your perches. Now this is when you as the photographer take that opportunity to get that award-winning shot. In theory. On the... What? Oh, I missed it. Anyway, let's rewind to earlier and see how I got on. First thing that we're going to need to do is to get our wood. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to where we're going to build our bird station, feeding station, and then we've got to clear away the old one. So this is what I've been dealing with so far. So it's a metal feeding station and I've got a terrible branch and tied it up with a shoelace. So that's obviously not going to do. So we're going to get rid of this. It's not the easiest thing to do one-handed. Yep. What I want to do now is just put the wood, the supports, up against the current bird feeder just to see how tall it is. Good. So it's about a foot taller, or 2 foot and a half taller, which is brilliant because what I want to do is I want to bury it in the ground for its strength, and I want it to basically come up to about the same height. So that should be perfect. And we are looking for a rabbit spade. It's not the one I was looking for, but it should do the trick. What I've just done is just cut a point in the bottom of the stake so that I can hammer it into the ground, just give it a bit more stability. And considering I suck at sawing, which sounds like a really dumb thing to say, but I've never got the hang of it, but I reckon that this isn't that bad. It's not the most prettiest thing in the world, but it will do the job. So that's what we want it to do. I've dug my foot in a bit deep hole, and now obviously dig a hole whatever size you want, but I need it to be able to stay upright and not fall over. So depends how tall you want it as well. God, I wish I was taller. What is it you got me to do? I'm currently, look at showing them in there. I'm currently emptying bags of, what is it?
Liquid gold.
But it absolutely hums.
Look at your face. Oh. Yeah, don't really.
Is that from in there?
Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's open this up. This is oily.
It smells like rotten onions.
Look at that. That is cool.
Don't put my GoPro in it.
Oh,
God, that's absolutely disgusting.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but you're
That
absolutely
is gonna
disgusting.
Benefit our garden.
Well, waste not, want not, I suppose.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
for doing that.
Enjoy playing with your poo.
Thank you.
No worries. Now I need to find that big screw. So I've just got some assorted screws here, just trying to find the longest one. So that is pretty large. Well, it's worked, which is good. I was half expecting it to split the rotten wood, but for the minute at least, it seems to have worked. I'm a little bit less sure about this side because this is a lot more rotten. If we can sink it right in. Just gonna get it in a little bit more. Oh, really? Battery's died. Ugh. 2 seconds. Okay. Also, don't put screws in your mouth because it's a choke hazard, I guess. I don't know. Right, so if I put that there. Alright, this is a moment of truth. Is it going to split the wood? Yeah! So it didn't split the wood, which is brilliant. But that isn't going to go anywhere, which is fantastic. Because if a big bird does come and land on it, like a crow or a sparrowhawk, maybe, who knows, then fingers crossed it shouldn't collapse. It won't collapse. For once in my life I actually have faith in my handiwork. Actually, that's a lie. I'm just strangely optimistic. Now, from the back it doesn't look that pretty, but once it's got ivy all over it, you shouldn't be able to tell. So what we're going to do now is try and figure out where we're going to put the second log, branch or perch. I don't think 2 uprights is going to be enough to do this, so what I think I'm going to do, I've got some wood which is actually an old fence post from a farm. It's really pretty wood. There's loads of texture and stuff in it. what I really wanted to do now is just add another support in on the side, which is just an old bit of fence panel from the farm. Another bracket. So I quite like this side to be facing the window, just because of the dead man's fingers or fungi. I want to call them dead man's fingers. I don't know what they are. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think I might have found out what the fungus is. Again, I'm not 100% sure, and please forgive my pronunciation, but Xylaria hypoxylon? Hypoxylon? I have no idea. But if you do know what it is, please let me know in the comments, and that'd be awesome. Keep getting told off for standing on plants. So slightly different approach. I'm gonna put this bit here now instead. That's going nowhere. So, what do you think so far? Am I smashing it? Or does it need smashing up? I shouldn't be let loose with the drill. We're pretty much done for today, this first bit. I'll admit it does look a little bit rough around the edges and it's not perfect, but this is my best effort. Just going to stick some bird feeders on so they can get used to it over the next couple of days, and hopefully we can get some shots to prove that it works. Might not, they might hate it, but who knows. I'm just going to use these to attach the feeders to the posts. Obviously not the most ideal hooks in the world, but it's all I can find. Make sure they're nice and tight. And then, bird feeder. Got one just in the middle, because I like this one. If I put that there, on the log down here I think I'm going to get some mealworms. I'm just trying to encourage robins and blackbirds possibly up here. So, see how that goes. There we go. That kind of works. So now we've got the bird feeders in place. Just going to go and fill them all up, and then fingers crossed, sit at the window and see if anything comes in. I've got to pack everything away first, but we'll see if anything comes and has a little nose around. So the good news is that it works. Within about 5 minutes of me coming indoors after the build, there was about 3 blue tits and 2 long-tailed tits already on the feeder. Over the last few days, I've sat and watched starlings, goldfinches and great tits also feeding on the station. I also managed to get a shot of the blue tit right next to the fungi, which is fantastic, although it is only a short clip and not the best, but with some refining and a load more attempts, I'm hoping that I might be able to nail that shot. But you can see that having the fungi on the branch in the shot does add an extra element to the photograph. Furthermore, the distance between my feeding station and the background is about 15 to 20 feet or so. Now that kind of distance creates a really lovely blurred backdrop against the birds. Now another benefit of a photographic feeding station is that you simply spend more time watching the garden. The morning after the build, I actually managed to capture these 2 female blackbirds fighting. Now, I was already set up with my camera, so I got the shot, which doesn't normally happen to me. Now, the amount of times I randomly look out the window and see something amazing, but obviously don't have my camera, makes me think that there are captivating things happening in the garden all day long. We just never see them. But now it's over to you. You're not going to get good shots without practice and patience, so go out there, build something better than I did, and get some cracking shots. Just don't forget to clean your window first. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and interesting, and if the wildlife in your garden is something that you are fascinated by and passionate about, then please be sure to subscribe to the channel, drop me a thumbs up, and obviously if you've got any thoughts on how I can improve the feeding station, or if you simply want to teach me how to use a drill properly, then please leave a comment. Although I'm new to YouTube, over the coming months I'm going to try and focus on bringing the wildlife around you closer to home and helping you document it through photography and moving image. I'll also be talking to some really knowledgeable people about some key environmental and conservation issues facing our wildlife in the UK. So be sure to turn on the notification button so you don't miss a thing. Until next time.